Hello and welcome to Hackceler8 2023. I'm your host, Paul Dev. I'm alongside the security engineer extraordinaire, Hilna. We're coming to you from Tokyo, Japan, and we have got an exciting set of matches today. We've had an exciting set of matches all weekend so far. Hilna, what's been your favorite moment so far?
You know what? We have fantastic teams with us today. We have some of the best CTF teams in the world. And just seeing their mindset, their approach, their tooling is quite spectacular. So I'm excited to see more.
We've had a couple of group stages go through so far. We've had a number of teams that have played. You can see them all now. They have played some absolutely epic matches so far. Some have been eliminated already. They've gone into last chance playoffs as well. And they were even tighter matches that were very exciting to watch, to actually knock out certain teams that were in the matches themselves. Any highlights from those last stage playoffs? Anything you could think of?
You know what? We had some strong teams with Dragon Sector, Blue Water, and a lot of good teams. But unfortunately, only the best survive. So I'm quite excited to see who wins this thing.
I actually heard that one of the matches came down to like about 15 seconds at the end, and it's like that kind of excitement across, you know, what ultimately is, you know, a very long match that they have to play, and the difference can be just that 15 seconds. That's
Absolutely.
all it takes.
We have so many flags, so little time. Let's get to it.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff. So we'll take you through now some of the highlights we've seen over the last couple of days of the matches and the teams that have played and the fantastic effort that they've put in. Been an absolutely fantastic couple of days. You've seen there some of the highlights of the teams playing through and everything that they've done so far. It's been exciting an event. I've just enjoyed myself so much.
Yeah, and meeting the teams and having fun with them. We've gone out to dinner and chatted with them. It's been so nice to meet in person again, and I'm excited to see more.
We've also had a couple of other events take place at the same time. We've got bug hunting events occurring as well, and it's really come together, and like this community of CTF players and bug hunters. We've got a student event coming up as well. Like just getting everybody together to do these kind of really cool things it's been so much fun. Everyone's enjoyed themselves, and obviously we've been, you know, in beautiful Tokyo. We've enjoyed the sights and the sounds of the place. It's been so good.
Absolutely.
So for the rest of the day, we've got our exciting semi-finals, and our first semi-final is going to take place very shortly. This is C4T BuT S4D versus the organizers. Our second semi-final will be Maple Mallard Magistrates versus Dice Gang. That'll take place at 4:30 Japan Standard Time. This will lead into the rather epic and exciting grand final at 6:30 Japan Standard Time. I can't call it one way or another who's going to end up in the grand final. What about you?
I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm not sure who I would bet on, but I have a strong feeling that C4T BuT S4D has strong chances, seeing their play and tooling from previous days. But you never know what happens.
It's been quite impressive in C4T BuT S4D, especially. They've had a strong showing throughout. The last chance finals yesterday that took place, they decided to take a rest day, didn't they?
Yeah, they just didn't show up, which is a power move.
It really was, and on top of that, I heard stories that not only that, they cleared out their gaming laptop that we give them. They cleared it of all files so that we couldn't see anything at all. There's a bit of a meta game that takes place, so it's kind of interesting to see like these kind of psychological tricks take place.
Yeah, their operational security is on point.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's stunning to say the least. But their opponents, organizers, not to be slept on at all. I think you're quite familiar with them, yeah?
Oh, absolutely. It's a Swiss team. We, of course, are largely based in Switzerland. They are mostly ETH, EPFL. And actually, I think they just texted me right now.
This is interesting.
Would you mind reading this, actually?
This is putting me on the spot. Let's see. Organizers. The team not to be confused with us, organizers. Not the team the organizers left us. Organizers this quick intro blurb. Organizers, beloved and hated by as the best meme team, are allegedly back with more invisible tooling that means it's even less visible now.
Interesting.
This is
quite a meme team, these guys.
Quite a meme
That's
team.
The team of chaos. Let's see what they have.
They've set us up quite nicely. Organizers always playing off the name that they've got, which just, you're going to hear it throughout the day. It's organizers with a capital O, I think, or are we the organizers with capital O?
You know what? I think they maxed out their CTF time aliases. They have any variation of anything.
It's pretty amazing. We've also got other teams that are going to be playing throughout the day. So in our semi-finals too, we've got Dice Gang versus Maple Mallet Magistrates. But the Maple Mallet Magistrates, they're an interesting team themselves, aren't they? They're veterans of this kind of space as well. They've been at Hackceler8 before.
Absolutely, they've played Hackceler8 before, and then of course they're veterans of the CTF community at large. So they should be strong contenders, and absolutely they have their tooling down. I'm excited to see what they'll bring in the semifinals too.
It was amazing with Maple Mallet Magistrates. I saw them yesterday. They came to play the challenges that they didn't need to. It's experience and a bit of extra time working at it. And so far, I've seen them sort of just blitz through a lot of the challenges. It's been really quite impressive.
Very impressive tooling, and when you have the right tooling, sometimes you can solve a challenge within 5 seconds, and we do see that occasionally. Maybe we'll see that in today's match.
It can go really fast. And our final team, not to be slept on at all, is Dice Gang. Dice Gang, I'm not too fantastically familiar with them, but they've been here before. They've played really well. Any interesting bits and pieces?
It's a fabulous team. It's a fabulous gang of folks. I saw them walking in Shibuya last night. They were wearing matching high visibility vests with, of course, their Dice Gang logo. Some of the coolest guys in Shibuya, I can tell you.
So if you're out there and you're wandering around and you see those high vis vests, you know, everyone looks cool in a high vis vest.
It's hard to miss them.
Yeah, it's pretty good, eh? So beyond that, what are they playing for, and what are we actually doing here? So we've got some interesting challenges. And this year, the game has been built from the ground up. It's very unique for Hackceler8 itself, and it's an interesting kind of thing. So yeah, one thing that's worth remembering is that the two teams that are playing right now is, or that will be playing very shortly, I should say, is Organizers and C4T BuT S4D. And then our second semi-final is Maple Mallet Magistrates versus the Dice Gang. That'll happen a bit later on. Yeah, so be sure to stay tuned for the second semi-final as well. Should be an exciting one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm biting my nails.
Yeah, so the game itself, as I said, it's built from the ground up. We've got some new characters. We've got new worlds. We've got basically new everything. It really looks fantastic. So the characters themselves this year, they've got names. They've got backstories. They've got personality, and they've got heart. And our main character that you see on screen now, this is Bartholomew or Mew. Mew, what's your thoughts on Mew?
So his name is actually Bartholomew Meow the Third. That's quite a mouthful.
I think I'm just gonna stay with Mew.
Yeah, okay, let's go with Mew.
Yeah, go with Mew.
But he is our protagonist. You will see him running around. You will see him flying, speed hacking, doing all sorts of shenanigans. So I'm excited to see on what adventures he will embark on.
It'll be pretty amazing. We've got some other NPCs around the game. We've got Jesse James. Have I got that right?
I believe it's Jesse James because he's a snake.
Yeah, I understand. This is our cool little snake. He wears the hat and the sunglasses because he thinks they're cool.
Of course, he's a mysterious man.
It's pretty hard to argue with the hat being cool and sunglasses. I've heard he's got it on the right way around, so it's pretty good that way.
Oh, absolutely.
But we've got other characters as well. We've got Casher and Trasher. These are our two raccoons. Now, Kasha, he's a bit of a well-to-do sort of fella. I think, you know, as I understand, he's got an MBA.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
An
I know.
MBA.
I know. Special stuff. I don't have an MBA. I don't think I'll ever have an MBA. But Trasher, not so much. He's a bit of a slacker, I think. You know.
Maybe he has a good personality.
Do you think it's the kind of thing that, like, you know, when they were named, it was, you know, sort of fate at that point? Trasher's not the greatest name, you know.
Sort of the fault of the parents, perhaps.
Yeah, I think so. You know,
Yeah.
it's like you're predestined.
It's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate. But we also have our lovely duck Quackington. Quackington here also is rocking the cool sunglasses. Quackington, his background, we got.
You know what?
anything?
I think he's a mysterious guy.
He's a mysterious guy.
But by the name, seems elegant.
Yeah.
Perhaps
yeah.
Sir Quackington.
Sir Quackington.
Yeah.
This is. Should I address him as a sir?
Perhaps not.
Okay.
We'll see how
I-
his quest goes in the game.
This is good.
Let's see how the narrative goes.
I would probably forget. And last but not least, we've got Dog. Now I'm told Dog does have a name, but we don't know what that name is.
So
'cause
just Dog.
Just Dog. Just Dog.
I assume he's happy to be here at least.
Yeah, I'm not too sure Mew's happy that he's here, and that's why. Like,
The cat-dog dynamic.
I suspect what we've got in terms of our info has been delivered by Mew. That's why it just says Dog, and you know,
Drama.
Didn't want to talk. About
Suspenseful.
it. Yeah, something like that. Withholding information.
Yeah.
Maybe it's that OPSEC again.
Yeah, perhaps.
Who knows? Who knows?
Hmm.
So that's the characters that you'll see throughout the game. But you know, at the end of the day, what does the game itself actually look like, and what are our teams going to be doing? So we've got, as I said, a bespoke, you know, unique game that's been made for this. And you can see here our overworld. Tell us a little about the overworld. What's happening here?
So we have a beautiful game. It's a mixture of also last year's game. So we have an overworld, but also when you go into the different buildings, you will go into a platform-like game. So it is a mixture of two types of game engines, which makes the tooling for the teams even more interesting, more frustrating for them, but fun for us.
That's the idea here. I like it being frustrating for them and fun for us. It's worth mentioning at this point that I'm pretty sure that Hackceler8 2023 is not going to be any kind of password that they'll need. So you know,
Or maybe it is.
Or maybe it is. Ooh. And then we've got other worlds that the teams will be playing through. As we said, they were platforming levels. So here's what we've called our Rusty stage, I think.
Yeah, so this is your classic platformer type game. You jump around, there are items, often secret items that they perhaps don't see, walls that are false. So hopefully the teams have built up tooling over the previous days to help them navigate this world that might be a bit deceptive.
It's it like reminds me of a lot of the sort of Commander Keen era platforming games and that kind of stuff, which is really cool. But what kind of game would it be if it didn't have a water level?
Ah, the dreaded water level.
The dreaded water level. Now I am told there is actually some degree of water physics that happens in this level as well.
I don't see it.
I don't see it right now.
There's not even bubbles.
No, well, Mew's pretty fantastic. I'm fairly certain, like, he can hold his breath, or does he even need to breathe?
I don't think cats like water.
Yeah, this is a point. So, you know, do you breathe if you don't like the water? Nah, it's fine. But yeah, the water level, that'll provide some interesting enemies. You can see the jellyfishes there. There'll be some interesting stuff taking place there. And finally, Mew, ever the adventurer, he goes into space. It's the kind of magic that you can only dream of. Anything interesting about the space levels? It's fairly early stages yet, though.
I hope low gravity,
Yep.
flying. That's all I can hope for.
I'm seeing what looks like one tiny rocket. I'm hoping more rockets at the end of the day.
To the moon.
To the moon. And that's the kind of levels that they'll be running through. But within these levels, there will be challenges. So the challenges that they'll have to do, like, come in sort of various different forms. And we've got a couple of examples you might see in the semi-finals coming up. And so we've got our spikes level here. This looks pretty intense. Any thoughts on what's going on here?
I can see a lot of death screens. So I think if you try to play this normally, oh yeah,
That's why
you need to get better actually.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So the idea here is a lot of these challenges are not really solvable by a human or without hacking. So hopefully these teams will use their magic to get through these dangerous spikes.
It is the speed running competition where if your opponents shout that you're hacking, that's probably a compliment, right?
Oh, it's a great thing.
Absolutely. After that, we've got some maze levels. What kind of game would not be fit without a maze? It kind of looks very similar to the spikes levels, but I'm told there's something special about these mazes.
Yeah, so it might look like a normal 2D maze at first, but actually it is a 3D maze that you only see snippets of. So the goal is to try to get to the center of the maze. So they have to reverse engineer a 3D maze and then navigate it through two-dimensional mazes like that.
This sounds wonderfully complicated and hard to
Frustrating.
visualize and frustrating. I think I love everything about it for that reason. And yeah, finally we've got one last other challenge we can take a brief look at is our CCTV challenge. So this looks a bit more along the lines of sort of a traditional platformer.
Yeah, absolutely. Although we have a path that is traced with the character and some items that can be picked up, including a cannon. So we will see Mew blasting his cannon and seeing if he can use it in ways that maybe he can find secret rooms or get through walls or do other shenanigans with.
It's kind of really interesting. Like a lot of the teams have already seen these kind of levels already. It's escalating up in terms of the difficulty and what they can expect. As you said before, it's not really expected that they're going to solve these challenges, these levels by hand. I don't think there's that much of a pro gamer in either of our teams.
Absolutely. I think the strength of these teams are scripting, making bots, and cheating.
Excellent. This is fantastic stuff. So as we said, like we're heading into our first semi-finals. This will determine our first grand final participant. So semi-final 1 is C4T BuT S4D versus the organizers. That's taking place very shortly at 2:30 Japan Standard Time. Our semi-final 2, Maple Mallard Magistrates versus Dice Gang. That'll take place at 4:30. Don't miss either of those matches. They're going to be really tight matches and really exciting, I think. And finally, that'll go into the absolutely, exciting and epic grand final at 6:30 Japan Standard Time. Linna, any thoughts on who do you want to see advance through, and who do you think is going to advance through?
You know what? My heart is with the organizers as an organizer myself. But I have a hard time putting my money on a single team. I'm rooting for the underdogs, but let's see where it goes.
It's going to be an interesting one, to say the least. At the end of the day, the teams are going to be fighting it out pretty tooth and nail. And, what do they get at the end of all of this? Apart from the undying respect of everybody in the room and all of their opponents, we've got a wonderful trophy that we've set up for them that we bought here. This is the cup to die for. And yeah, that's going to be a fantastic prize for these teams.
Absolutely. It's not only eternal glory, but commemorated through trophy.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. The teams themselves, like, I'm always excited to watch these matches. It's going to be great. So in about 10 minutes time, we're going to get started with the first semi-finals. That's going to be a really interesting match. I'm looking forward to it. How about you?
Absolutely. I think it's a privilege to be able to see some of the top people in the game, see their tooling, their scripting, and hopefully you will also learn from this. So enjoy.
It'll be a wonderful match, so join us in approximately 10 minutes time when the match will get underway. That's semi-final 1, and it'll be the organizers versus C4T BuT S4D. It promises to be a good one. welcome back to Hackceler8 2023. We are in Semifinals 1. I'm your host, Paul Dev. I am alongside security engineer extraordinaire, Luna. It has been a fantastic couple of days. We've seen some fantastic stuff over our speed running hacking competition that we've got going on. Any interesting highlights that you've seen so far in the last couple of days?
You know what? I've really enjoyed some of the large language model challenges and the different approaches that they have, but also we'll see some riveting boss fights with often very interesting strategies, including freeze framing the game, and then everything looks very broken. But well, I think we'll see a lot more of that.
I think so. I mean, these teams are getting themselves prepared right now for the match, and we've seen some interesting stuff happen over the last couple of days. The two teams we've got playing in this match are Organizers and C4T BuT S4D. C4T BuT S4D, an interesting team. They have just sort of powered through to the finals so far. What do we know about them?
So it's a Russian-based team. So they are a team formed in 2019, a combination of many Russian teams, including Shadow Servants, HackerDom, Paseka, Sequence, and many others. It's very interesting that like a lot of these players are not security professionals. These are just software engineers. So like it's very fascinating that it's not only hackers that are here, but it's just normal programmers.
They've had some interesting plays over the last couple of days. Yesterday in particular, I noticed like because they advanced to the finals so quickly, they took the day off. They weren't here. Other teams that didn't have to play were here playing. But yeah, they took the day off, didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they have a very strong background in attack and defense CTFs, which helps them create an infrastructure. It makes you organize a bit more of how you write your exploits, how do you deploy them, and how do you get them into the right places. So they've organized some of these CTFs, so I think that gives them a little bit of an edge, and I think we saw that on day one.
That was a pretty good experience from them. I also can't not get past mentioning their fantastic OPSEC from yesterday. We have, each team has a gaming laptop that they'll be running on that's been provided by us. They wiped all of the information off the gaming laptop before they gave it back to us and took their day off.
Absolutely. We were seeing some of their exploits, and we were watching their screens, and we were very impressed by some of the plays. So of course we were fascinated to see what they were doing, just to find nothing.
It's an interesting metagame. I'm just curious to see how this is going to play out for them in the long run. Their opponents today, they're not a team to be slept on at all. I think they're one of your favorite teams. It's the Organizers.
Organizers, love them. It's a very strong team, of course, with large ties with general European countries, but generally ETH and EPFL. They are quite mischievous. They're known for their pranks, their jokes, including
the name themselves.
Absolutely. And it's quite funny if at ETH there's a student bar that they even hijacked the actual bar on Google Maps and renamed it to Organizers HQ.
That just sounds so perfect.
Absolutely, very fitting for a team.
Their pathway through so far, they've been a pretty strong team, but they were in one of the last chance playoffs, I think, weren't they?
Absolutely. So they did qualify last minute, but they did so very well. And I know that they were working hard all night to try to up their tooling, because of course going against a tough competitor, tooling is everything.
That's going to be really what it comes down to at the end of the day. Like these are speedrunning games where hacking and cheating is absolutely encouraged.
Yeah.
Like, how much do you think that kind of prep work on tooling, and you know, do you have any idea of what those kind of tooling methods will look like? You know, how much is that going to impact the game?
So we are definitely going to see a lot of changes to the game. We'll see rendered hitboxes, paths, and all sorts of things being displayed. Of course, everyone has their unique approach. Some have web dashboards for pathfinders, counting ticks, and trying to buffer up some sort of like speed hacks. So we'll see this in different ways, and Organizers claims that their tooling will be invisible. So I think on the Organizers' part, we'll just see a normal game. And from C4T BuT S4D, we'll see a lot of chaos that might be confusing, but hopefully we'll be able to understand some of the techniques that they're using.
I feel like making the tooling invisible is just yet another example of the organizers trolling. Like, it's kind of fantastic. You know, it's that they're going to make our lives as hard as you know, as a troll. It's, you know, there's never a troll to be not taken, right?
It will be harder to figure out their exact techniques when we just see normal gameplay.
So the game itself is probably something that we should take a look at. It's a very interesting game this year. We've developed it from the ground up. It's a wonderful game. We've got here our overworld and our main character Mew. Mew's an interesting character, yeah?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We have our protagonist Mew. This is Hackceler8 Silicon Valley, the city. I'm not sure of its significance, but hopefully there is no AI evil overlords that is gonna come into Mew's way.
I don't like the hope, but I think there might be.
Oh really?
Yeah. There's got to be an antagonist, right, for this story at some point. But yeah, Mew, the interesting character here. He will be the main player character that you'll see throughout the match. There's also a lot of other side characters that we'll cover as we bump into them, I think, and as we meet them.
Such as Jesse James.
It's Jesse James.
Oh, you're correcting me
yeah,
now.
Yeah, I've tried to reverse it back here a little bit. I've tried to recover lost ground, you know?
Oh, okay.
So it's the games themselves. You saw the overworld there. Well, then the teams will have to navigate certain different worlds. It's your standard sort of platforming worlds, and we've got our Rusty world here. I think there's a couple of interesting challenges in this one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we have a lot of hidden things that hopefully the tooling from the teams is going to show you. So often they will have like a rectangle that will show sort of like where do you pick up these things, and this will unlock Mew to continue on their journey. And then also these challenges are interlocking, meaning that you do need to solve 4 of them to get to the final boss. And to solve some of them, you need the previous challenge's item to even be in a state where you can solve it.
That's interesting. So along with the final boss, which we're going to keep and show you when they get there, we've got our second world, which is what kind of platforming game would it be if there wasn't a water world? Water worlds, always the fun ones.
My least favorite of any level.
I think it's everybody's least favorite.
But you gotta have one.
You do.
You have to have one.
It's also like right up there with the ice physics world, but I don't think we have ice physics. But you know, that's just an idea for next time.
Oh, absolutely. We need some ice.
It'll be interesting. There's different enemies you can see right now. Mew jumping in front of a jellyfish, kind of taunting, I think. But there'll be some interesting challenges here that we've seen some already, and hopefully more.
Yeah, and so for example, for this one, you do need an item from a previous challenge. So it will be interesting to see if the teams can actually figure out which items they need, and to do the most optimal routing of which challenges are the fastest to complete the entire game. There's
been a couple of instances already where like we've thought that for a given challenge, for a given level, they've required an item, and we've seen at least one where that turned out not to be true in kind of spectacular fashion. So we might see more of that. It could be interesting.
Yeah. So with making a broken game with a lot of vulnerabilities, there's a lot of unexpected behavior. So things might not go exactly according to plan, but I think that's also part of the fun.
That's absolutely the case. And finally, Mew takes to the skies and then beyond. Mew finds himself in space. Wonderful level. I love the artwork. I love the style. I want to see more rockets. What about you?
I wanna go to space. I wanna see that rocket fly off. I hope it has significance, and I hope we can see some explosive exploits.
Absolutely.
Get them to the moon.
I see what you did there. That was magnificent.
Thank you.
It's absolutely a stunning game to look at. We've seen some really interesting stuff so far. The challenges themselves, they're not to be slept on at all. Different things that the teams will be undertaking in all those levels that you saw there. We've got our Spike Space challenge, just as sort of a taste of what we're going on today. Looks painful, looks hard.
A lot of death screens.
A lot of death screens. Players aren't expected to play through this manually, are they?
I mean, so there is a nice mixture of speedrunning and game hacking. So there is some platforming that you have to do, Of course, they can do this manually, but for a good hacking team, hopefully they will have pathfinding algorithms that will always do the optimal path for them. But we'll see how that goes.
It's a pro gamer skills, just not enough. You need that little bit extra. Like you've got to have someone yell hacks at you in the game.
Oh yeah, if you don't have a 12-year-old yelling hacks at you, are you really playing?
Are you really playing? No, you're not at all. Of course, the game has more challenges. We've got our maze-type challenges. Now, these mazes, they're not exactly what they seem. You told us a little about it before. What's the trick with this one?
So yeah, there's more than meets the eye here for sure. So in the back end, this is actually a 3D maze. So players do have to reverse engineer the path to the center to try to figure out how do you navigate this 2D maze that is actually a 3D maze. So I'm interested to see like the strategies here, because it's also, as you can see, you can easily die on the spikes. So this could lose players some time if they mess this up.
Absolutely. It'll be interesting, this concept of a 3D maze. It's hard to visualize, but I think as the game goes on, we'll get more of a look at that. Finally, we've got a set of challenges lovingly referred to as CCTV. These ones look interesting. It reminds me of sort of Commander Keen style platforming. It looks like there could be a lot going on.
Absolutely. This is definitely classic platformer style, where they do have to utilize some of their speedrunning tactics, but also utilizing items such as a cannon. And hopefully there's no unexpected behavior with such powerful items.
It'll be interesting. I've seen a couple of teams play through these challenges already, and like at a certain point it is actually entirely unplayable, and some kind of trick has to take place. These are a lot of what you would expect in your standard like sort of speedrun tournaments that you've seen, you know, the pause buffering kind of thing, but it's going to get a lot more advanced.
Absolutely. We have traditional speed running tricks, but also some more traditional CTF style hacking techniques, and I think the mixture of these are quite fascinating.
It's a wonderfully unique approach to these kind of things. The encouraging of this strict cheating as and hacking as a competition, it's amazing, and it yields so many different results. We saw this in previous Hackceler8s, and you know, you're a veteran of Hackceler8. You've seen some fantastic stuff as well.
Absolutely, our game has definitely evolved over the years. Starting from more of a traditional Jeopardy style CTF where you do copy flags, but now we try to have more visual challenges where viewers like you can enjoy not just an IRA session, but fun graphics.
So, like, we're about 3 minutes away from the match starting. What's really interesting and something I sort of want to touch on is we've mentioned the flags and the keys so far, and it's you said that it was 4 keys to get to the boss, correct?
Correct, yes.
And then, is that it? Once they've defeated the final boss, is that over?
So they are collecting items, and each item is essentially 1 point. So when they collect 7 items on their journey, they will be victorious.
Excellent. So it's 4 items to the boss, 7 items for completion, and at that point, the team that gets to 7 items first has won.
Correct. Yes. So the items do need to be acquired before unlocking the boss.
Okay. Well, it's going to be really interesting. So a reminder now, I guess, of the teams that are playing today. We've got Cat BuT SAD, or formerly known in last year they were, I think, just Cat the Fish, but now they're Cat BuT SAD. Another one of the changing and evolving names over time. Yeah, a really strong team again. I was somewhat stunned and impressed by the fact that they didn't show up yesterday and took the rest day. This could play in their favor. What do you feel about that?
I think this is all mind games.
Yep.
You gotta hammer on meta games sometimes, but I think they have control over what they're doing, and they're quite a capable team. And I think just judging by day one, it's a force to be reckoned with.
It was a really strong performance, that's for sure. You know, when you go straight through to the finals like that, I guess you don't feel the pressure as much.
Yeah.
But that may be the undoing, especially when they're coming up against the organizers.
The organizers, yeah.
Yeah. They were in the last chance playoffs.
Yes.
did you see any of the matches? How did they perform?
So I saw a lot of their tooling, and they do have different approaches to how they solve these challenges. So I find it quite fascinating how they're gonna pit against each other, especially seeing how, for example, against the boss, one went for writing an AI with bot, and one went for freeze framing the client. So we'll see which one is gonna pay off in the long term.
It'll be interesting. I guess we're not going to see their tooling, but that's okay. At the end of the day, they've got it.
I hope they're gonna give us a little glimpse.
Yeah,
we'll try our best to analyze the footage frame by frame here.
So I think the team's getting ready, and the match is about ready to get underway. So it looks really interesting. This one's going to be a very exciting match. We will go in for the countdown, the final countdown, and get this match underway.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That's it. They're underway, and the match has begun. So it's an interesting start. It always is an interesting start.
Straight to the loading screen. This should take like 40 seconds.
Like 40 seconds. It's I mean, I kind of want to sit here and time it, but at the same time, I really don't.
The game is maybe not the most optimized, but that's part of the fun.
So we can see both teams are sort of navigating around now. The server is live, and they'll look to interact. We can see that C4T BuT S4D has what looks to be like some recordings. So as we can see, the tooling already for them is it's visible for one, so that's really nice. But we've got bounding boxes around the characters there.
So we can see hitboxes, we can see pathfindings to the desired location. So for example, here we can see that they want to go to the edge of the map to go against the wall. But they are now in a logic puzzle where each item is sort of like either a constant number or an expression. So this is actually a logic gate that they do need to solve.
And this looks going very fast.
And it's solved already. So they were in their preparation. Already. They already solved the logic gate.
Wow, that was super fast. And I noticed the white line there that they had as just sort of like a map to where the key is. That could prove quite powerful through some of the platforming levels.
Absolutely, and you can see that they have like this recording selector. So they can have optimal pathfinding, and they don't have to do actually any playing. They just replay recordings of key presses.
So this is very similar to a TAS at that point. Like this is, you know, which again, like that's highly encouraged. Right?
This is really just a tool-assisted speedrun.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah. It's that quick for a first capture and for a first blood. That's quite amazing.
And we can see the organizers, although not their tooling, they have found Jess C. James.
They found Jess C. James.
And they have the cannon, which they've been using to sort of like help with the platforming elements.
So Jess C. James, she's asking for a key by the looks of it.
So there's a password.
There's a password?
Do you think it's Hackceler8 2023?
You know, I'm going to bet that it's not.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But I would love to see them try. I like password.
I like password.
Ooh, this could be good.
Is organizers trying to communicate with us?
Oh, this looks good.
Oh, look at that.
This looks very good. And there we go. They've scored their key item from Jessie James. Jessie James, she likes that.
So we got the violet key from Jessie James, and we have the magnet for C4T BuT S4D.
Yeah, they've gone into Jessie James as well.
So we can see they've also reversed the password checker.
Out of sync.
Oh, look!
Oh, they've hit the anti-cheat.
So there is a server-side cheat detection. So if they do mess with the client too much, they will get disconnected and booted off.
Now, have they gotten the flag, the key from Jessie James? It has marked as being gotten, but did the anti-cheat kick in after or before? That seems interesting.
Yeah, so it might be a client-side thing, or maybe they had enough time in the server to get the key.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, this might be just sort of the you know, reloading to get back into the game. But it'll be interesting to see where their key states
It's a penalty if you get caught cheating. It's like 40 seconds of wait time.
It's like 40 seconds. I love that timer, I really do. But they're back into the game now, and they've headed into the water level. Oh no, they turned around.
Oh, they left again.
And they've left.
So they're both in the overworld now. Going to space.
Going to space. Oh, this looks interesting. So again, we've got the blue line there, which I think is showing where the flag is.
Where they want to go. So
Yeah,
they
that's
obviously
where
want
they
to
wanna
get to the rocket.
Yep. And you can see on the left, in their tooling, they've got a bit of a view of the map, so they can take a broader look around. But
So
yeah, no, there you go. Because on the game pause, under the item section, it's got purple key and magnet, so it did count.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's impressive that they hit the cheat just after triggering the key.
Yeah, that's really tight.
It's very tight. It seems like either they really know what they're doing or something went wrong.
It's it's really hard to say.
Yeah,
It's going to be interesting to ask them about. But organizers, on the other hand, they've made their way into another level.
The 3D maze.
So they're in the 3D maze. Not much movement, unfortunately. But
So they might be now trying to figure out where they're trying to go. But again, we can see such a drastic difference between organizers and C4T BuT S4D. There is nothing we can see on organizer screens that indicate that they might be cheating or using any sort of bots.
I mean, it's I don't know whether it's well, I mean, it is them trolling, which is great.
It's very hard for us to sort of like analyze what their strategies are, but I think that's their goal.
I think they're enjoying that as a concept. So you know, it's we should mention that both teams are in soundproof booths. They obviously can't hear us. I think they're going to get a couple of laughs out of the fact that we're struggling so much to talk about them.
They did mess with you earlier with the team description.
That's just one of the most difficult things I've read, and by design as well. So that was amazing.
Absolutely.
Right. So they're still sitting here in the maze.
So it seems like they have figured out how to solve these challenges very fast in the preparation. So before connecting to the server, they managed to reverse engineer the password check. So they managed to get those keys very fast.
So it's 7 challenges they've got to go through before the servers went live. How many do you reckon, you know, on average, you could prepare for? Like if we take C4T BuT S4D and they've got their autoplayers, their TASs set up for it, how many do you reckon they had all 7 ready?
So I would speculate, just from their game being paused now and they got 2 items very quickly, is in the preparation time they managed to properly reverse 2 challenges. Although they might just be loading up the next one, then we'll have to see. But they have very, very impressive websites where they have the map, the recording. They're obviously like, they created entirely new software just to mess with this game, and I find it like so fascinating. They change even the, because we provide them with certain game assets and whatever, and you can see that they change backgrounds, they change characters, they do their own sprites just to add a little bit more flair. Maybe this is the flex.
This is
the mind game that they are playing just to psych out organizers.
I would change that this should take like 40 seconds and like really emphasize the like. That'd be amazing. But it's they're reloading the game here. I think for a moment there they were in CCTV, but they seem to be jumping different levels around the place. So we can see a bit of an example in the background there of the game client loading. Yeah,
they did hit a little bump with the anti-cheat. I wonder if they're reloading to try to address that. We can see their Discord chats now.
This could be interesting. Each time the game falls out of sync or does something unexpected with the server, anti-cheat may potentially kick them out at that point, right?
Yeah, if there's a desync or any sort of mismatch in state, the server will immediately drop the connection.
Okay, so that's something they're going to have to be aware of. It looks. We should also mention at this point that, like, while each team has 4 players in the room that are ultimately the players themselves, they are allowed to have remote players as well, aren't they?
Absolutely. Some of these teams go as big as 50 to 100 people.
Wow.
So
That's really big.
organizers is usually playing with 40 to 50 people, so this is usually ETA students.
Suddenly their name makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely, and Cat BuT SAD is around 18 players, so like these are quite sizable teams.
And so they're helping remotely, and that's why you might see things like Discord in the background and that. And you can see, like, you know, the teams move across. There's in each booth there's one gaming laptop, which is what we look at above right there. But they also have their own laptops that have the game client itself. It can't connect to the server. Their own laptops can't connect to the server. But oh, here they go. They're off on a platformer again.
So here we can see their tooling is showing them the wall of death that they're trying to use the rocket to get away from.
And there's another flag capture. There's the blue key for them.
So they managed to go high up in space faster than the
wall of death.
The wall of death.
So normally, like, we could see the wall of death on their screen there because they've highlighted all the various interaction and objects within the game. Are we supposed to see that wall of death?
So this is from their tooling.
That's
so they highlighted these objects. So for example, on the organizer screen, we will not see that.
We won't see that at all. Okay, so that makes first time play through the game a bit more interesting. So Cat BuT SAD at the moment are ahead. Two keys to one and one magnet.
Yeah. So it's very interesting that we are trying to find these keys to unlock the boss, but to do so we need the items to solve some of the other challenges. So for example, the magnet is quite important for the water level.
So does do the items that aren't the key, or do the keys as well, do the items have an effect on the player?
Yeah, so you can use these items to sort of like gain an advantage to solve the other levels. Otherwise, you cannot get past certain obstacles, or you cannot retrieve certain items. So the magnet and the water level,
that'll help.
Probably retrieving something.
Probably retrieving.
Perhaps a key made out of metal.
Ooh, sounds interesting. What are the other items we've got? We've got, it looks like a propeller hat there. Please tell me the character. Is Mew's gonna fly? Mew's
yeah,
not
I
gonna
mean
fly.
it's a hat.
It's
with
a
propellers.
hat with a propeller.
Of course, it's gonna make Mew fly.
We also have boots as an item there. What do the boots do?
That is.
Is it a speed? I think it's a speed thing.
Yeah. So this gives you more speed.
Yeah.
So this is gonna come in handy later for some places where you need a bit more speed to
Do things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be some interesting challenges.
So perhaps it can protect you against spikes. Perhaps.
Ooh.
How exciting!
This is thinking on your feet. So both teams at the moment now, it looks like they've moved away to their own laptops to do some further analysis or work. It's unsure where they're going to go next, but as we saw in the open, it can all happen in a matter of seconds. Like that first key capture was so quick.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fascinating how fast they can do this just with writing the right code beforehand.
Yeah.
And that gives them more time to work on other challenges now.
Yep.
So they are now trying to figure out how to get 2 other keys or 3 for organizers.
It'll be interesting to see the next choices. You know, at the end, you're more familiar with it. Like the similarities between sort of these type of games and a traditional CTF. Is there a lot of crossover there, or is it the kind of thing this is new territory for these teams?
So typically when you play a Jeopardy style CTF competition is you usually get some file or some attachment from a platform, and you use some tools to try to get a flag. This is of course usually just hackers either in a disassembler, debugger, or a terminal. Of course not super interesting to watch, but you get some flag out of it and then you send that to the scoring server.
Yep.
As opposed to this one where kind of like you are in this universe and you moving throughout the game. So really like we replaced flags with actual items that also are
makes sense.
interlocking, so we can experience this a bit more in an immersive way.
That makes sense. It's I can sort of see the crossovers. Like, you watch certain speedrunning competitions, and like if you've done any kind of capture the flag or any security kind of research in the past, you're always sort of, you're like, you understand the concepts, you understand what's going on. So it's interesting that like now we've got a game where this is the active goal for both teams, or for all teams.
Absolutely, and for example, for the remote players, or for the 3 other screens that we don't see on the gaming laptop, there are a lot of IDA sessions. There's a lot of Python scripts.
Yep.
There's a lot of terminals with a bunch of commands, although we do not see them, but that is definitely happening right now. And of course, they're trying to.
The organizers not showing us it.
So from the organizer side, they've just been standing in this maze for
quite a while.
For yeah, they might be amazed by it.
Okay, that was great. These good puns.
But we don't know what sort of like things their team is doing, and as I said, it's quite a sizable team.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they might just be shipping this off to the remote players to try to figure this out.
Absolutely.
And then once they get the solution, they have to be very fast on implementing it and running through the maze to the desired location.
So both teams have got about 30 minutes left of game time active. So at this point in time, C4T BuT S4D's looking in a good position against the organizers. But as we saw, this can all change in a matter of seconds, depending on how developed the tooling is and how developed the scripting is for playing these games. The players cannot solve these challenges by hand, or at least we believe they can't be solved by hand, like just playing the game normally.
We have seen some challenges where, for example, in one of the spike levels, one of the teams figured out that the probability of you just walking straight through the spikes is the same odds as just throwing a dice and getting 6s twice.
Oh,
so they just kept going and they got through.
They get through, you know,
which
in
is also
reasonable time.
one approach.
That is an approach. But the difficulty is ramped up over the last couple of days. So like, hopefully now, I mean, there's always the prospect of an unintended solve, but it's
absolutely. And I think having these different types of solutions also makes this more exciting, because some solutions are faster than others.
Absolutely.
Some are more resilient, because we also have sort of like difficulty. The difficulty of these challenges is being raised, but we use the same elements, we use the same maps, we use similar items, but we increase the difficulty. So the better the tooling you made in the first 2 days, the better and faster you will be in the more difficult variants of those levels.
That's I mean, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Again, the ability to see C4T BuT S4D's tooling is interesting, and it makes it, you know, easy to see. We can see right now, even though the game's paused, that in the water level here, where the flag is and where they want to go. Now, it's not as simple as walking through the level and avoiding the enemies or anything like that. There is a challenge in there somewhere of how to get past it. I don't think we're sure of what that challenge is just yet.
I think we're gonna see it once they write the exploit and we see them execute it. Then we will.
It's just waiting for that exciting moment, and maybe it's now. They're starting to move. Oh no, they've left level. This seems to be happening a lot for them. They're going into levels and leaving them. Is it getting? Is it possibly that they're getting their tooling state to some kind of sync with the game state, do you think?
Yeah, it's of course hard to speculate exactly what their strategy is. Like, why would they be jumping between maps? Maybe they're not too familiar with the levels and just didn't know how to find this map.
You'll also see here that Mew does take a couple of hits from the enemies that are shooting. And Mew does have health, and it can take a couple of hits, but at the end of the day, can't. This looks like pause buffering.
Yeah, so they're actually freezing the client, and this can be very useful for certain challenges because things happen very fast.
Yep.
You have to be very precise, and often you have to be frame perfect in your movements.
and they've just restarted the level again. This is it's always interesting. It looks chaotic and a bit random, but it never is. There's always some, there's a reason for it.
There's a lot of restarting. That's peculiar.
It's very interesting. So you see James down there.
Just C James.
I think they can interact with just C James, but
yes,
I'm not sure in this level. It's not a password checking level as far as I'm aware. Yeah.
No, this is more of hardcore platforming.
Oh, okay.
This is just
so this is just get to the end and get to the platform.
Right. It's just very challenging. Although they're restarting a lot. It's an interesting strategy.
There is movement on organizers, and we have to point it out because there hasn't been movement so far. They have moved the excitement of the match so far. But this feels very deliberate movement. It's very careful as well by the looks of it.
Perhaps when they were just standing around, they were trying to figure out the pathing.
At the same time, I just don't want to put it past them that it's another troll where they're just moving for the sake of moving, and then we'll stop again. But this looks like they've got some idea of how to progress through the maze. So with the 3D maze itself, like how is this? Do you have an idea of how it's mapped out? Like, is it there are things that we can't see right now?
Absolutely. Like there is so on the server side, we just have a 3-dimensional array with either spikes or walkway, and this of course is huge. It's massive.
Yep.
And trying to write a pathing algorithm through a 3D maze, and then translating it to 2D motions. Frustrating, to say the least. But it seems like they're doing very deliberate movements, and look at that. We can see hitboxes of the spikes now.
Yeah.
So their tooling is not actually.
It's visible. We can see it.
So maybe we can have a little glimpse.
We can have
it's gone now. Never mind. Never mind.
That
was shortly lived.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just trying to tease us a little bit.
Tease it through, but we had a brief look there. We saw they had the game tick, the sync to the server, between the server and client. It's very methodical movement. It feels to me like they've got an answer, but at the same time, it feels like they're playing it by hand.
Yes, so they don't have the same recordings as C4T BuT S4D, and we can even see them on the cameras being very deliberate in how they move around, and I assume they just have a path that they think is the right. They hopefully know where they're going, but they're doing this manually, which also means if they are 1 pixel off and hit the spikes, it's back to the beginning.
That's disastrous. Like that, it makes it a lot more tense and hard. Like
they like living life on the edge here.
C4T BuT S4D making some movements through our CCTV level. You can see now Muse firing away at the jellyfish. A lot of the tooling showing various different states.
Yeah, and you can see the playstyles of these two teams is so drastically different. Right?
Absolutely.
And you can see like the they died.
That's unfortunate. What got them there?
So I think like in this hallway, you have to hit the right timing, otherwise you will die in the hallway.
So
you can see the lines.
Yeah, the tooling with the yellow lines showing like where they would die, and there's a check for it.
Yeah, there's some randomness that they have to decipher or influence.
That'd be interesting. Organizers still back at the maze. Another brief look at their tooling there before they turned it off. And back on. And off. Back on? No, not back.
So you can see that like they are playing by hand, and sometimes they need the hitboxes to make sure that they don't die by the spikes. This is so brave.
It is
bold.
It's
bold strategy.
It's a bold strategy. Oh no, there it is, and they've died.
Back to the start.
Back to the start.
Back to the start. Let's go.
Oh, that's painful.
You can see them in the booth. Defeated, devastating.
Actually painful.
Absolutely shattering.
That's
you can see them just waiting on the death screen, like we have to do this all over again.
You got to take a minute to just let the sadness overwhelm you for a second, you know, as you realize you've got they were it looked far in.
They were making progress. They were dozens of screens in.
It looked really far in, so that's hard, you know, and it turns into one of those things of how much time you're going to spend on this one in particular.
and C4T BuT S4D also died in the
They took a
platform
death
level.
as well. Wow.
They took a death, so back to the beginning we go.
Well, this could be a nice little bit of a time equalizer for them.
Yeah, and Organizers is restarting their game, so they do have a save state. So let's see if they saved their state.
So a save state's built in for the game. This is something that they've done.
Yes, they're not built into the game, so you can implement your own save state, but you have to make sure that it doesn't bother the anti-cheat on the server side.
Okay, that'd be interesting. It's as far as I'm aware, they're.
Oh my God! Look at him go!
That's amazing. As
So
far as I'm aware, we haven't told them. We didn't tell, you know, they don't get much information before the match. They didn't know that there was anti-cheat, so that could be interesting.
Yeah, the teams were not informed about the anti-cheat,
So
but maybe C4T BuT S4D learned about it as they triggered it.
it's that
But
could be a thing.
they got the keys though. It's I'm still amazed by it.
Yeah, that one was an interesting key grab. I really thought for a moment that it wasn't going to be. And
Yeah,
they've
oh,
taken
and-
another
oh.
death.
See, the platforming can be hard.
It's
So they obviously don't have recordings for this part, which could have saved them a lot of time, but now they're just stuck doing difficult platforming. So here actually, like, they need to use the magnet to try to get past this wall, to try to get up on the platform. But it's still frame perfect and non-trivial.
So what does the magnet help them do here?
So
like,
that helps them reach the platform.
okay, it lifts them up a bit more.
Yeah.
to-
So
in the
just by 1 pixel.
1 pixel. Okay.
So this really needs to be frame perfect.
right, that's it.
While
again,
their enemies shooting at you.
and it still does look like they're playing the game by hand.
So they don't have a recording for this because, of course, they didn't know that they needed the magnet to get past this point.
Of course.
So they don't have recordings
they
for
wouldn't
this.
be prepped for it, would they?
So we do need to see how they deal with challenges or parts of the map that they haven't reached yet.
So you can see here that not only is the enemy shooting at them, but they're waiting for this excruciatingly slow platform to come down.
Yeah.
They're still taking hits. It's not, you know, there's a finite amount of health that Mew's got. I'm not sure how much damage. Oh, and it
and
fell.
Back to the start we go.
Yeah.
So this is valuable time. I mean, they are in the lead, but every second counts. In the previous rounds, we have seen things go down to 15 seconds before the match ends that somebody gets the last item. So every moment counts here.
So in the event that they reach time for a gameplay time, the winner will be the team that has the most flags and the team that captured the flag or item first.
Yes, so it's the first team to reach the highest number of items.
Okay. So there is a possibility we won't get to see, at least in this match, our fantastic final boss, but at the same time, it's impossible to call. Like whether they'll have a rush on flags at the end. This could be what we're seeing now from both teams. Just one player trying to work out a challenge. There's 3 other players in the booths that are presumably working on either this challenge or other challenges, and then however many may be remote at the same time doing roughly the same thing through the client only, of course.
Absolutely. So we might see some speedy solves, especially when they get items that are required.
Yeah.
So they might have already solved the challenge, but they just need an item from another challenge to get to a state where they can then run their exploit.
Yeah, that could be. It could be interesting if it's the item collection while they're working out the other exploits.
I mean, the ideal strategy is to parallelize your solving and really find the optimal order of operations here.
Just makes sense, right? So,
Yeah.
Organizers still walking through the maze. Feels a little bit more confident, but it still feels handheld.
It's still very manual labor, so
Yeah.
maybe they're just trying to psych us out. Maybe the invisible tooling is non-existent tooling.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, they've shown their hands to us already. We see glimpses of the tooling when they have to turn it on and off around the place. As
Yeah.
we see again the same strategy of drawing a as the bird flies line between Mew and the key in this level.
Yeah.
We see that occasionally when they turn it on, which
Oh,
helps.
there was a line there briefly.
Yeah, that's the line I was talking about to,
Yeah.
to get them there, which helps to find the exit of where you need
course.
to go on each screen. But yeah, it's still very much hand played at this point, which is
I wonder how much of a handicap it is for the players themselves to not have any visible tooling.
yeah. I mean, it would be a self-imposed handicap at that point.
Are they shooting themselves in the foot
Yeah,
by
it
trying to troll us?
really
I mean,
feels like it, right? Like it's interesting. It might just harm them more than it helps them, but
at least for now, it seems like it's a lot of manual labor that could be fixed with simple scripts and just visual indicators.
I mean, I'm in the fortunate position of not knowing the amount of work that goes in to automate and to write those scripts to solve a maze like this, but it feels like to me I would not want to hand do this. Oh, it's another
Ah.
death.
Oh, you can hear them in
yeah.
the booth getting frustrated and annoyed.
This is getting difficult.
It's like we planned this or something.
It's you don't want to see it. I mean, it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal.
I'm enjoying this thoroughly, Paul.
I look, I'm there with you. I want to pretend that I'm not, but I am.
It's enthralling.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. The death there at the start of the maze, not exactly the worst thing to happen if you're going to die anyway.
Yeah.
So they're going to reset their client state again.
So yeah, it seems like they have some sort of a save state that they keep loading from.
But it doesn't seem like the save state is any decent way through
No.
the maze. Like it looks to me like they're starting the maze over each time. So there's evidently some other like state that they're trying to restore
Yeah.
by reloading the game.
But they are taking quite significant time hits with loading the game every single time. Because of course, like we are not the best engineers making game engines, so they'll have to suffer the
like 40 seconds.
non-optimized loading times.
Yeah. If you rebuild the game and you optimize it, I think it goes away and doesn't say like 40 seconds. It just says 10 seconds.
Oh.
I'm making that up. I'm just absolutely making that up.
Like 10 seconds.
Like 10 seconds. So they're back in
at it
the
again.
overworld and heading in.
Back in the
back
maze.
in the maze.
Let's see. Do they have it this time?
The determination is admirable. It really is.
So by this point, do you think they're frustrated enough where they're like, you know what? Let's tool this out. Let's.
I kind of want to hope so. It still looks manual.
It still looks very manual.
It's. I mean, I want to believe that someone in the background is trying to script it out for
Yeah.
them and get the movements, but
They've suffered drastic time losses.
yeah, absolutely.
With making great progress into the maze
Yep.
and then losing everything.
Yeah.
3 times.
and 4 times.
Oh. Spoke too soon.
Spoke too soon. Commentator's curse again. 5 times.
5
No,
times.
we won't
Okay.
count those
All
ones.
right.
That just at the start. That doesn't count. But
I hope we'll hear more frustrated screams from the booth here.
the deeper into the maze the death occurs, I think the louder the screams
Yes.
will be.
Yeah,
It's that tortured, belabored screaming and frustration. So reloading the game once again. Let's see if they have some luck this time. I'm at the point now where I want to see them solve it. So much effort. I want them to get their reward.
I have high hopes.
Yep.
I want to see. I wanna see them.
You have high hopes. How's the expectations?
I expect them to win.
And I should have seen that one. I expect that of you as well. So
Oh, thank you.
yeah.
I like this opinion.
Yeah, I tend to forget the the knowledge of organizers and your connection with them. So
Yes.
yeah, that sounds about right.
And I think it's going to be very fascinating because a lot of the commentators do have a lot of insights into some of the teams that will be playing matches. So I think
speed.
oh, they're speed hacking in the maze. This is
bold.
This is
Very brave move there. So like from what we see, you know, and again if they turn on their
they have tooled it now, perhaps. Is this scripted now? Have they? Look at that. Okay, so they finally managed to script how. So it seems like they put the cursor into the spot where they want to walk, and then a Pathfinder speed hacks there.
So do they have to
So
align
they have
you?
improved their strategy, and I'm so happy about it.
This is looking better. This is looking a lot better. But it's a dead end. Did they go to the wrong exit?
So the question is, do they know where they're going?
Well, that's
Or they are hitting a lot of dead ends. So they might just be exploring until they find something.
But each time they come into a new screen, they're turning on tooling very briefly. We get the white line.
Yeah.
I believe is showing the exit that they have to go to.
I think they have just like the mouse cursor. They can point at a place in the map, and then the Pathfinder bot will speed hack them there.
This speed is just making me so anxious for them. Every time they turn it on.
So we can see now C4T BuT S4D is also going to the maze, and you can see that they're properly tooled from the start.
So they got hitboxes around everything, and this is a very confident move through the maze.
And like even if you have if you script it properly, you can even make your client like make you unable to walk into the spikes.
Oh.
And which seems like by the movement that they're doing, they're just like they're a pixel off the spikes.
Yeah, they are
this is
really
so
tight.
so optimal.
They're actually on the same screen right now.
Oh, look at that.
There was a
Let's
nice
see.
little high five as they walk past.
Let's see if who's the first one to find.
C4T BuT S4D making their way swiftly through.
But you can see that
it is hugging the wall.
Yeah, like they have tooling prepped, and you could see organizers struggling with their tooling for a long time.
This is the difference. This is absolutely the difference. C4T BuT S4D is zoomed ahead in terms of the screens here. I think there are 2 or 3 screens ahead.
So the question is, have the other players figured out where to go faster than organizers?
Yeah, that's for sure.
Every
time organizers turns on the speed,
especially like they don't have the same hitbox protection as C4T BuT S4D. So like this is quite giving me a little bit of anxiety for sure here.
So
there we go. Oh, okay.
I've gotten used to C4T BuT S4D and the tooling hugging the corners. Like it's an optimized routing.
It's a pixel off.
Yeah, it really is. But every time organizers turns on that speed hack, I just get so tense.
Yeah.
But okay, so
both of them are paused now.
Do they believe they're at C4T BuT S4D believes they're at the end of their recording? They're not at the end of the maze.
So
this is interesting.
The question is, did they generate the recording that maybe got them into a place where they thought was the end?
Yeah.
But maybe now they're in a state where
they seem to
it's not the end.
And there's every chance we're reading, you know, what's in front of us wrong, but it seems like they're on the end recording, so
it's hard to interpret because of course we don't understand their tooling. We tried, but they deleted it.
Just making that. So see, we could have had so much more to say about them had they not deleted it.
Yeah. Operational security.
Yeah. What a shame. What a shame. But they still seem to be moving. It feels less confident now. They're not hugging the wall.
So it seems like they're just playing now.
This feels manual.
It doesn't feel like AI anymore.
No. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's a lot more manual.
Perhaps they're lost in the maze.
That'd be disastrous. They're still there. So it looks like they still have tooling which is stopping them from touching the spikes. Because there's been a couple of those real sort of jittery moments.
Seems like when they walk into it, the client just stops
Yeah.
them, which is smart.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, can't die in a maze if it won't let you.
Especially for organizers suffering so many deaths.
Yeah, yeah. I want to believe organizers will get it this time. They've come. I think they're further in than they've been before by about 4 or 5 screens.
Yeah, it seems like, especially after they did the pathfinding bot, like this is such a better strategy than what they had
Absolutely,
earlier.
yeah. Well, that seemed to be the wrong exit. But yeah, they're working through it now. You can see both teams focused on the maze.
So the issue is also like keeping track of like if they are trying to figure out where they're going. You are going between so many different screens.
Yep.
It's often hard to figure out where are you going next and keeping track of that state.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you reckon their flag pointer, like for organizers, their white line flag pointer, is that keeping accurate track, or is there a possibility it's leading them on a wild goose chase?
So I think they don't have a line that is showing them exactly where to go.
It's showing the exit, right?
So I think it's just them using the cursor to click anywhere.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
this is just pointing. Oh, and they
Oh,
got
there
the
you go.
propeller hat. Cat BuT S4D has the propeller hat.
So that puts them up 4-1. That's a high lead. Are they just out of the world? No. Okay, they're back in the world now. But that's a pretty substantial lead at this point. So back into CCTV. This be back into our platformers. We've seen them have a go at this one before.
So now you can see that they're jumping higher.
Yep.
Thanks to the
Oh
propellers.
yeah, they are absolutely.
And this is required for another level.
Is it for this level?
No.
Okay. All right, some standard platforming here. Organizers still making their way through the maze. I want to believe in the organizers and their ability to solve this maze. They've got this. Oh, here we go. This is our death corridor again. Lots of firing. I think let's
see if they got the RNG on their side now.
It's looking good.
Oh, no! Just by a hair.
That was so close.
Ah.
So it looks like they're firing on specific frames to avoid, again, wildly speculating here, but like to avoid the check that they should die.
Yes, yeah. So they want to be in a state where they can pass through the hallway.
Yeah.
But there's of course some seeds. There's some RNG.
There's some RNG at play,
and they need the RNGs on their side.
I've always heard that RNG is pro gamer's best friend.
Of course.
Just gonna have to game harder.
Game harder.
Yeah.
But of course, in actual video game speedrunning, there's very similar RNG strategies where you maybe don't have full control over.
So is this the case where they're going to have to, employ some of those more speedrunning strategies, like manipulate the RNG somehow?
Yes,
like
and then having frame perfect inputs to make sure that they don't mess up the seeds or the checks.
That's a
because even if they miss it by a frame, it's
all over.
It's game over.
Yeah, that's it's not the values you expected, and then it's going to change. That's a tough build for them. So we'll see how it goes. Organizers still making their way through the maze. So here we go. They've got it.
Oh, and now organizers have received the hat. Look at them go. They're so happy about it.
Yeah.
And they're going to space, which is...
Hat required?
Hat is required here.
Hat's required.
Oh, they died immediately. They got so excited that they got a hat that they just forgot how to play. And they died again.
So this is, we saw this on Cat BuT S4D before. This is where there's an invisible like wall of lava rising up from the bottom.
So when you see
they gotta move fast.
They need to move very fast.
Yeah.
Because there is an invisible wall that will kill them. Of course, from the side of Cat BuT SAD, we of course saw this because we saw their tooling, and there was like a red.
Yep.
It was a red wall, but here the wall comes from nowhere.
Is it again the case that they're trying to manually play their
This
way
looks
through this?
very
It
manual.
Looks very manual. I just, it's not going to happen.
This
I mean,
is-
it'd be great if it did, but
I mean, so here you would really benefit from having an actual video game speedrunner on your CTF team. And here is like another meta game when playing Hackceler8.
it's going to have to
Just-
start recruiting speedrunners.
Get nice speedrunners.
Let's log on speedruns.com and take a look at who's the
Oh,
top. Oh, it's looking good.
And they...
No!
Oh!
They got it. They did get it.
Oh, wow. Like last frame,
Yeah.
that was...
Look at that.
Wow.
That's magnificent.
That is...
Well done to the organizers getting it on what has to be the last frame. That's something
so
else.
tight.
So organizers staging a bit of a late stage comeback here, 3-4.
So now they're equal in terms of keys, but Cat BuT SAD is in the lead due to having one more item, the magnet.
Yeah. Even if organizers right now gets the magnet or another item, they're still technically behind because organizers would be technically behind because Cat BuT SAD has gotten their items and flags sooner.
Yeah.
So
way quicker.
yeah, and that's it.
Oh, and
that's the game. It's over. So the winners here, Cat BuT SAD, 4 items to 3.
Good job, Cat BuT
Congratulations.
SAD. Moving on to the finals.
That was an amazing match.
Superior tooling, superior strategies, less deaths.
Less deaths, less time in the maze at the end of the day. So that was a tight one. It really looked like a late stage comeback from organizers, but
Absolutely.
time just got the better of them.
They were so close. They were making up good ground in the end there, but they spent most of the match in the maze, which was their demise.
I think that's the cost at the end of the day. It was an amazing match. From start to finish, we saw a whole lot of different things take place. Cat BuT SAD came flying out of the gate. That first key capture was so quick.
And the action at the end there.
Yes,
exciting.
Phenomenal stuff. So that's semi-final 1 down. Cat BuT SAD will advance to our finals. That takes place later on today. Up next is semi-final 2. That will be Dice Gang versus the Maple Mallard Magistrates.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think it's going to be just as an exciting match.
But will they be a match for Cat BuT SAD in the finals? We'll see which one.
Who's going to be that match? The semi-finals 2 will take place in around about an hour's time, so be sure to join us then to see who will be taking on Cat BuT SAD in the finals of Hackceler8 2023. From me, Paul Dev, and from Hilna, final thoughts?
I am sweating. That was action-packed.
It was amazing.
Love it.
I'm looking
So
forward
good.
to more of this. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you very shortly in around about an hour for semi-finals 2.